Welcome to my show, Confession of a Futurist with Sanjiv Goyal, where we bring mavericks, really some special people who are making the difference. We started this dialogue almost a year ago. Our global population is rising. It is expected to be 10 billion people. We're not too far from there. Another 20 years. How are we going to solve these problems which we currently have? So every week I invite phenomenal guests, people who have different perspective. They have done something very interesting and it's their take on how can we solve these problems. I have invited Michele. She's a genius. She's an expert of crypto. She understands NFT. These are the new kind of currencies. And I thought it would be interesting to hear and understand how these newer kind of currencies are going to solve some of the global economy problems we have, or is it creating more problems? So let's talk to her, let's bring her and then talk to her more about how does she see the world going forward. Michele, welcome to our show.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
So Michele, I have a very simple question for you. Do you have a confession for our audience?
Yes, I do. I was thinking about this show a little bit earlier, and I actually wrote a patent in 2014 and 15 on crypto alliances and a digital wallet that allows for interoperability between fiat and cryptocurrency. I've been thinking a lot about governance and DAOs and the way that organizations will be structured in the future. And when you really think about Libra and all the alliances, like credit card associations and things like that, isn't that a DAO, right? So I think it's safe to say that we have a governance structure in our digital wallet provisional patent in 2014 and 15. I thought that was really, really cool. And I just realized it today.
Yeah, it's interesting, Michele, how our world has evolved, especially in last 10 years. But if we go back 18 months ago, pre-COVID and post-COVID, we never thought our world is so interconnected. If somebody sneezes anywhere in the world, it impacts all of us. Every single country economy is impacted if the economy of one country is impacted. So we are, I will say, we are so codependent on everybody around us. Now, in that world, currency is the key instrument for us to work with. So biggest question I have for you is currency even relevant when we talk about going in future? Because we need currency to trade. I'm sure we can find better ways without currency to trade.
Yeah, we do need a global currency. If you ask why, and what is the future of money? It is a currency. Cryptocurrency came, the people that create cryptocurrency, they have a faith and a belief in a revolution, right? They're ready for change. And in the last couple of years, it's been really difficult for adoption because of regulations from the government, depending on location and where people live. And, having, thinking through concepts, such as privacy, transparency, whether the way that we spend and how we spend should be, autonomous. Do you really know what I need to buy today with cash or cryptocurrency? So, I think those are some of the questions. And also, I think blockchain is trustless, right? So, I agree to do something, perform a service for you, like say I create a logo, and after I'm done, I should get paid. However, I think in the last couple of years, although cryptocurrency has moved forward, we also see a lot of challenges in the industry, right? Because there's no governance. We see a lot of fraud. We see a lot of founders enriching themselves. Governance and DAO systems that didn't work. We see, like people using Mixer to do certain things, and the government, caring about AML, KYC. So how do we balance that, right? And but why is money important?
That's a bigger question. So the reason I'm asking this question is, Michele, I think the bigger problem, personally, I see it as we try to mix fiat and crypto. Mm-hmm. I personally think when we talk about crypto, we should think of a very different kind of word. Because when we talk about a word which is completely transparent, completely open, it is an open structure, it's a global currency, there is nobody control it. The minute we mix it with fiat, it just changes the whole dynamics. And today, just for our audience, some stat, US has roughly, as per Federal Reserve, $19.5 trillion. Mm-hmm. And we have, it's an interesting number, I got $2 trillion to $5 trillion printed in circulation. And half of those dollars are outside America. So it's very interesting what dollars are doing outside America, who is using it, and why people have these dollar bills lying around everywhere in the world. Yeah. Okay, I get some traveler. And on the same note, Bitcoin is roughly around 900 billion now, or
yeah, it's right. Quite a lot.
Right. So it's still pretty large. It's like almost half of the printed or the currency in circulation. So it's a pretty large number. However, who decide the value of that? Because it's all pegged to the fiat currency. And that is where I'm sure a lot of audience like me have challenge in comprehending, if we are creating a different kind of currency, why does it need to be pegged with fiat? So if you can talk a little bit about that, that'll be very helpful.
Yeah, I think the answer really depends, right? You have Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just Bitcoin, right?
It's around 45% of the total crypto now.
It has its own value, but the challenges with Bitcoin is that you can't. There's no chargeback. It's still 10 minutes, and people don't use it, right? You can't use it. I mean, people are treating it as a investment. People are treating it as gold. And I'm thinking in my head, it's okay. So should I invest in US dollar or Japanese yen? Okay, yeah, people do all those currency trading, but it doesn't make any sense as a person, because I would like to use the money to buy something. Yeah, my vision for that in terms of a currency for trade is a stable coin. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they are volatile, right? They move up and down depending on the market. Ethereum has more utility, because people can develop smart contracts on top of that. And
blockchain, I completely agree with you, Michele. There are tremendous usage of that. In fact, to tell you the fact, I laugh about what is happening with NFG, right? NFT. But philosophically, it makes a lot of sense. As an engineer, I say, I can apply it to 100 other things. I don't have to apply it to a digital card. I can apply it to several things. Mm-hmm. Same technology, right?
Yes, yeah. So a non-fungible token is a token. It's unique. It's identified. It has its own identifiable information, and it's tied to a blockchain. And the media is usually on the IPFS, and it could be a license that is on an NFT. It could be art, right? It could be real estate.
Yeah.
It could be a title. Like anything could be an NFT. And I think we hosted a conference in about 2017 and 18. And one of my visions for the future is having one cryptocurrency that kind of unites it all. And it's almost like me having my crypto and you having your crypto, right? And for example, say I'm making a startup and I wanted to pay you for 1 hour of your insights or advice. So I would, pay you with Michele coin, and you would receive it, right? But you can transfer that and convert that into a stable coin, and you can transfer that stable coin anywhere around the world. Because like today people are using stable coins to pay their employees, their contractors, and different people, because you don't have to convert it. It's universal. And it's always, it's mostly always, stable.
So that's a very interesting concept. But before we go a little deeper, would you mind telling people about your experience? I know enough about you, but it would be nice for them to know, where did you grow up? What you like? You are in San Francisco now, right?
Yeah, I'm in the Silicon Valley. I've grown up in California most of my life.
Wow.
And I'm a big nerd.
I
didn't really know what Steam was, until recently. I went to Berkeley. At Berkeley, I was the editor of a Asian American magazine called Slant.
Nice.
Also worked at a database management company when I was in college, doing technical stuff as well. And then I went to law school. And while I was in law school, I worked at a few tech companies like Cisco, eBay, Samsung, Apple, and then a triple play company. And after that, one of my goal or wish is like, I want to work at one of these internet companies because I'm really passionate and I can really tell you how nerdy I was. So when I was in law school, even though I couldn't take, a class like internet law or something, I would just buy the materials and I just read it, right? Just when I was in law school, I did an essay on like carriers liability, like, and discussing the right to moderate your content, like even before all these like requirements with Facebook. So like that's how nerdy I was, and then after that I was at PayPal for 6 years, and at PayPal I was just working.
So how you got into this crypto, Bitcoin, NFT? Why? I'm just curious why you got into all that.
Yeah, PayPal is money, right? So
okay.
the vision of PayPal is peer-to-peer, right? So I can beam money to you with my Palm Pilot. That was the original vision of PayPal.
Yes.
And really think about it, it's the same. So I was working on all the most of the PayPal transaction, right? I was doing the Tsng deal, Bill Me Later, Where app with publishing, and also the merchant deals at PayPal, right? And we see different kinds of wave, digital goods, you have point of sales, you have widgets, and then you have mobile. I work with tons and tons of different merchants.
Nice.
And so
any interesting story of the integration with the merchant where you had like, oh wow, this is interesting. People use currency this way too, or the transaction, financial transaction in this way, or this kind of mode.
Interesting is just really the Apple iPhone movement, right? Because I remember I did a lot of the text to give and text to send like deals on your phone, like using short codes. And I remember saying, I was just like, oh, why can't we do that in the United States?
Yeah.
And this is before iPhone, right? So it's like super early. And when people were like, yeah, I think Asia is like really early, but we're still in the States, we're still catching up. So for me, and also I think Zenga was 2 years old, and it outperformed eBay as a PayPal merchant.
At that time.
At that time, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
CEO is former CEO is a good friend. So.
Yes, at that time, that is amazing. That is amazing. So you can because when you really understand that, like Second Life, Zenga doing really well with digital goods, then you really see the transition between that into digital money, into digital art, digital metaverses, right?
Exactly. So that's my question. I'm glad you brought it up. So now the boundaries are changing. Now it's going to be about planet, not about countries. Not exactly, but yes, partially.
Yeah.
So we are going, you and me and our next generation is going to live in a very different world. So what is your vision of money? What you think that, because in reality, money was invented so we can transact easily, right? I want to buy a cup. Now you have something interesting for me or not? Maybe not. Then I say, okay, but I can't give you this cup because you have nothing. Now with this NFT, we realize we can create these interesting instruments which can be used everywhere, or it can have a marketplace of its own, or it can have a value of its own.
Yeah, I think blockchain and cryptocurrency has is the key where it's legitimate. We can use it to buy things and do different things with it and transact. So I think with NFT, I'm an artist and I purchase other people's NFT and people buy my art and I can convert that into cash. So NFTs and tokens, they are real. They're not fake money. Like people can receive a stable coin, they can convert it into USD,
fiat or whatever,
or fiat, yeah. So and then we have to think about not just NFT but also decentralized finance, which is open finance, right? So you have $1, but beyond that dollar, you can stake it, you can farm it, and you can earn interest with your money. Those are all decentralized. So you have more, even though that they could be in some centralized places. So you can do different things with your money, right? That I think traditional finances would not provide, because then you would need to sign up for an account, you need to get approval. But now you don't. You manage your own wallet, and you basically could decide to stake whatever coins that you want, and you have a lot of choices.
So, let's going back to the basic fundamental question of what is the purpose of money? So the purpose of money is we need an instrument so we can trade with each other. And I can use that and do something else with that. It can be a gold coin, it can be a silver coin. We believed in fiat currency today because our government runs it. Now, a lot of nerds like you come up with the idea, oh, no, we don't want it like that. We want a global, we want a completely, almost like a self-governing kind of system around the money. And it's a token, it's a number, you can exchange it, has a value goes up and down relative to something, but in reality, value is same because its value is up and down because we are comparing it with some other currency. Right? If we change it, if the number of Bitcoins are still same, it doesn't change. Right?
Yeah.
How are we mining and all of that? So thinking about a word and thinking about a one currency word, do you think it is too far-fetched or it's not even required? Because a lot of times we talk about, oh no, we need one currency. Do we really need one? What is wrong with the current system?
The current fiat system, of course, has a lot of challenges. Distribution of wealth is very different. Only certain people, they could be manipulated, right? There's like macroeconomic factors that impact it. And then there's inflation, you can print a lot of that. So all of that impacts it. Even with cryptocurrency, there's many tokens. So I really don't know whether we need one global currency per se. However, I do think that one stable coin all over the world would help with, just the same price of everything. But I think the whole idea of the future is that money, is used for trading, but people will be incentivized, right? So today, if I go to a certain platform, they take our data, they exploit us, and they, make a lot of money from their shares. So, I think that money is going to change. It's going to be governed by a lot of people, with based on the reputation, hopefully, and other factors. Either be incentivized so that there's give and take, so it's two-way. There's going to be DAOs, right? That if I'm interested in something, then we can get together and create that. And also it involves, on the back end, like decentralized finance, not just.
So that is very interesting topic, Michele. You talk about decentralized finance. That is definitely a very interesting idea. And that's a lot of people are talking about it. And I do believe personally, even it's like, let's talk about Silicon Valley for a minute, and let's talk about the whole trading globally and talk about the funding with the VCs. VC funding is still a very small percentage of the total investment market. We know that. And there is billions of dollars, but still it's nothing as compared to total trading happening on the trading floors in New York and everywhere else globally. And we talk about so many startups getting funding, not getting funding, and there is a very complex systems. Every VC has their own way of doing things. A lot of amazing ideas die down or dies because they don't get either the proper support or they don't get the funding. So why aren't we figuring it out? I know ICO has major issues because of the regulatory hurdle. Are there better ways to raise initial funding so we can do a better, we can really bring some amazing startups to life?
Yeah, I think when in the crypto world, people do a lot of IDO, which is really based on the concept of fair launch. They don't really like it when something is pre-funded, especially without disclosure. So, but usually those are outside of the US because of our regulation. I think sometimes it stifles innovation in that kind of way, because then you limit capital to a certain group of people and a certain percentage of people. And then you also have...
And social equity is very important. I completely understand, because we have to change the whole paradigm. The wealth has to be distributed.
Yeah. And then also, we also have, I think, security tokens as well. So you can, under like regulation CF, and this is not legal advice, you can, raise up to a certain amount of money with token, but those require just some upfront costs, and you have to hire an attorney, and they usually charge, a large amount of money to be compliant with SEC, right? So
Michele, I think our audience would like to know more about what can they do and what should they do. And most of our audience are from Silicon Valley. What do you recommend them doing so they can even understand where our world is going and how should they look at the money?
Yeah, I think if you're just beginning to learn about money and the digitalization of money, I would read the Bitcoin white paper, because the basic concept is really peer-to-peer. I can send money to you without a lot of intermediaries, whether the clearinghouse or the bank. It's just really directly, and it's just a lot easier. I think that it's a paradigm, right? I think
so. Removing the middleman. What you're saying is pretty much you remove the middleman, because today we have to use bank, we have to use 100 other systems, whether it's Visa, MasterCard, there some network we have to use to transact. How do we eliminate that digitally?
Yeah, but it's not just the middleman, right? You have to balance privacy. How do you unite the world? And how do you define trust, and what is trustless, right? And then, like, what is your governance system? If you have a token system, so like when you have different companies and you have shares, different people get to vote. For blockchain, because you have tokens from day one, how are they structured so that power is not concentrated in one person?
Sure.
So it's not just about peer-to-peer. It's just really playing with different ideas and creating a world that you think is better than yesterday.
Michele, I can't thank you enough for being on our show. I would like to also thank Radio Zenga for giving me this opportunity, and our sponsors, Droices, NTTVC, and IIT DAF. And big thanks to all of our audience. Because of them, we have this show. Please do send us messages on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever network you are on. I'm Sanjiv Goyal. We'll be happy to hear your feedback and happy to respond to you. You can find her on Facebook and Instagram too. Michele, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.